The Young and the Restless spoilers shock recap Wednesday full October 1st, 2025. The drama in Genoa City shows no signs of slowing down, and the latest spoilers for The Young and the Restless promise explosive confrontations, surprising returns, and heartbreaks that will shake several families to their core. Longtime viewers know that whenever Jill Abbott makes her way back to town, chaos is never far behind, and this time will be no exception. Coupled with brewing tension between Nikki Newman and Diane Jenkins, Sally Spectra's crushing disappointment, and Claire Newman's decision to walk away from Kyle Abbott, the stage is set for a week of battles that no one will soon forget. The return of Jill Abbott is destined to dominate the canvas, as she steps back into Genoa City armed with questions, frustrations, and a determination to set her family straight. Jack Abbott confides in her that Billy has once again been losing control, his reckless behavior threatening not only his own stability but the Abbott name as well. For Jill, hearing that her son is spinning out is more than just gossip, it's a summons. Determined not to let Billy fall apart unchecked, she packs her bags and heads straight for Genoa City, knowing full well that when she arrives, sparks will fly. But Jill's homecoming isn't limited to confronting her son. Her first major stop will be none other than Kane Ashby's latest venture, and fans can expect fireworks as Jill faces both Kane and Billy in a clash that could tear open old wounds and ignite new feuds. Meanwhile, Sally Spectra will be blindsided by unsettling news of her own. Just as she dares to imagine stability with Billy, she finds herself confiding in Jill through an emotional video call. Sally admits that she loves Billy, but there's a problem standing between them, one she can't simply ignore. Jill, ever the matriarch with sharp instincts, listens closely, torn between her protective instincts toward Billy and her awareness that Sally's heart may truly be in the right place. Still, with Billy's behavior spiraling, Jill has every reason to worry that Sally's future with him may be on shaky ground. Nikki Newman, on the other hand, is gearing up for her own showdown. Spoilers reveal that she fully supports Victor Newman's partnership with Jack Abbott to take down Kane Ashby, but that loyalty does not extend to treating Jack's wife with kindness. When Nikki crosses paths with Diane Jenkins, she makes it clear that Diane will not be afforded respect simply because she wears Jack's ring. A clash between these two powerful women has been simmering for months, and now it looks ready to boil over, with Nikki determined to put Diane in her place once and for all. The war of words will be sharp, cutting, and filled with years of animosity that neither woman has ever truly buried. Elsewhere, tensions continue to ripple through Genoa City in unexpected ways. Tessa Porter finds herself pushed into a corner, forced to defend herself against Sharon Newman. The circumstances remain murky, but fans can expect Tessa to stand her ground with strength and determination, unwilling to let Sharon undermine her as she fights to protect what she values most. This battle could set off ripple effects in their circle of family and friends, particularly as loyalties are tested and lines are drawn. Lauren Fenmore, another powerful woman in her own right, will not sit idly by either. Spoilers hint that she will be furious over something Michael Baldwin does, an action that crosses a line she cannot forgive. Whether it is a legal maneuver, a betrayal of trust, or yet another instance of Michael choosing loyalty to someone else over his wife, Lauren's anger promises to erupt in ways that could threaten one of the most enduring marriages in Genoa City. Viewers can expect passionate confrontations, emotional pleas, and a test of whether Michael and Lauren can withstand yet another storm. And then, there is the heartbreaking decision from Claire Newman. After much soul-searching, Claire determines that her relationship with Kyle Abbott cannot continue. Kyle, already vulnerable and prone to making impulsive mistakes, will be crushed by Claire's choice, his confidence shattered and his future uncertain. For Claire, though, the decision represents growth and independence. Having spent so much of her life under the control of Jordan and others who dictated her every move, she realizes she needs to step back and discover who she truly is before committing to anyone. Though painful, the choice reflects her determination to live life on her own terms, even if it means breaking Kyle's heart in the process. All of these threads tie together into a week where family loyalties, romantic entanglements, and long-standing rivalries collide. Jill's return promises to reignite drama that spans decades. Nikki and Diane's clash reminds us that some feuds never die. Sally's struggles with Billy highlight the cost of loving a man who can't stay steady. And Claire's independence threatens to unravel Kyle's stability even further. Add in Tessa's fight with Sharon and Lauren's fury at Michael, and Genoa City becomes a cauldron of conflict where no one is safe from fallout. In true Young and the Restless fashion, nothing will be neatly resolved. Jill may arrive with determination, but whether she can save Billy from himself remains to be seen. Nikki may win the battle of words with Diane, but the war between the two women is far from over. Sally's tears may draw sympathy, but they won't erase the instability Billy brings into her life. And Claire's departure may free her, but it leaves Kyle spiraling into a mess that could tie him back to the very woman, Audra, he should avoid at all costs. With every storyline intertwining, one thing is certain. Genoa City is bracing for another storm, and no family, no couple, and no alliance will emerge untouched. In recent weeks, The Young and the Restless has taken Audra Charles on a downward spiral so steep that even her sharpest instincts cannot stop her fall. For a woman who once thrived on power plays, secret alliances, and carefully timed manipulations, the collapse of her world has left her stripped of nearly everything she once held dear. Vibrante, the fashion venture she had counted on to cement her place in Genoa City's business elite, has crumbled into dust after Victor Newman pulled his funding, leaving her scrambling for relevance and reeling from humiliation. If that weren't enough, Abbott Communications, the project she clung to as her last hope of staying in the spotlight, has collapsed as well, leaving her reputation battered and her influence reduced to ashes. The woman who once positioned herself as the future of Genoa City Power Games now stands on the outside looking in, desperately trying to salvage what little she has left. The personal blows have been no less brutal. Nate Hastings, the man who once saw promise in Audra, has reached his breaking point. He tolerated her ambition, forgave her deceptions more than once, and gave her chances to prove that she could be loyal. But when the truth came out that she had lied to him about her connection with Kyle Abbott, Nate's patience evaporated. For Nate, who values trust above all else, Audra's dishonesty was unforgivable. He walked away, not with anger so much as with a quiet finality, leaving Audra to face the reality that she had destroyed one of the only meaningful relationships she had. It is in this broken state that Audra encounters Nate again, and in one of her most vulnerable moments, she pleads with him for a second chance. Gone is the confident, calculating woman who once commanded boardrooms with poise and subtle threats. In her place stands someone stripped of power and pride, bearing her heart in desperation. She admits her mistakes, acknowledges her lies, and appeals to whatever remains of Nate's compassion. The scene is raw, emotional, and deeply human. Audra has nothing left to bargain with, no schemes to fall back on, no projects to distract her. All she has is the hope that Nate might see a glimmer of the woman she could be, not just the woman she was. The question, of course, is whether Nate will listen. His heart has been wounded too many times, and though he may sympathize with her pain, the betrayal may have cut too deep for reconciliation. While Audra's life crumbles, another storm brews elsewhere in Genoa City, as Nikki Newman and Diane Jenkins lock horns once more in a confrontation that reignites one of the most bitter rivalries in town. Nikki has never trusted Diane, never forgiven her for the chaos she unleashed in the past, and never believed her reinvention was genuine. Their animosity has simmered beneath the surface for months, erupting in pointed remarks, cold glares, and veiled threats. But this latest showdown makes it clear that their feud is far from over. When Diane pushes too far, trying to assert herself in a way that brushes against Nikki's pride, Nikki strikes back with the unyielding force of a woman who refuses to be undermined. The clash between Nikki and Diane is not simply personal, it is symbolic of larger battles at play. Both women are fiercely tied to their husbands' empires, with Nikki representing the Newman dynasty and Diane clinging to her position within the Abbott family. Their fight becomes a reminder to everyone watching that alliances are fragile and rivalries are eternal. If Jack Abbott and Victor Newman intend to work together against Kane Ashby, the room is left with no doubt that the women at their sides will never be allies. The sparks flying between Nikki and Diane threaten to ignite something much larger, with the fallout potentially rippling through both families, destabilizing already precarious alliances, and exposing vulnerabilities neither Jack nor Victor can afford. The confrontation leaves a chilling impression. Nikki's resolve is absolute, her determination unshakable. Diane, though defiant, cannot ignore the force of Nikki's fury. Their war has not ended, it has only evolved, and everyone in Genoa City knows it is only a matter of time before the next round explodes. As alliances shift, as marriages strain under the weight of old grudges, and as enemies circle like predators, one truth becomes clear: the Newman and Abbott families may believe they are fighting external threats, but sometimes the deadliest battles come from within. Together, these storylines paint a picture of a Genoa City teetering on the brink. Audra Charles faces ruin both personally and professionally, begging for forgiveness in a city that has little mercy to offer. Nate must decide whether his compassion outweighs his caution, while Nikki and Diane's war reminds everyone that history cannot be erased with vows of reinvention. With Jack and Victor's fragile cooperation hanging in the balance, and Kane lurking as a threat ready to exploit every fracture, the coming weeks promise chaos, heartbreak, and revelations that will alter the landscape of Genoa City once again. In another corner of Genoa City, Sally Spectra faces one of the most difficult choices of her relationship with Billy Abbott, and her decision could prove to be a dangerous gamble. For weeks, Sally has been navigating the delicate balance between honesty and self-preservation, caught between her feelings for Billy and the messy complexities of his unpredictable behavior. Billy, determined to prove himself as a partner, has been demanding transparency, vowing that trust is the only way forward. Yet in spite of his assurances, Sally finds herself unable to reveal everything, convinced that holding back a critical piece of information will protect her rather than destroy her. She tells herself that silence, at least for now, is the safer path, the only way to avoid setting off Billy's volatile side. Keeping Billy in the dark, however, is not without consequences. Sally knows full well that secrets in Genoa City never remain buried forever. The longer she hides the truth, the greater the fallout when it finally comes to light. And while she may rationalize her actions as self-defense, the decision is already eroding the fragile trust they've fought to build. One misstep, one slip, one hint of dishonesty could undo everything. Still, for Sally, the memory of Billy's recent behavior, his impulsive choices, his moments of recklessness, his inability to fully tame the chaos inside him, gives her justification. After all, who could blame her for protecting herself when the man she loves seems incapable of providing her with the stability she craves? This decision places Sally at a crossroads: either she continues to guard her secret, risking Billy's wrath when the truth inevitably surfaces, or she chooses transparency, knowing full well that honesty could fracture their relationship anyway. For now, she clings to silence, but the weight of her secret grows heavier by the day, threatening to crush both her confidence and her romance. Meanwhile, Tessa Porter is forced to step into the spotlight and defend herself in a way that leaves no room for doubt. Whether the issue centers around her marriage to Mariah or questions raised about Daniel's involvement, Tessa refuses to allow whispers and suspicions to tarnish who she is or what she stands for. Her voice, calm yet fierce, cuts through the noise as she asserts her truth, leaving no ambiguity about her choices. For Tessa, this is not simply about silencing critics, it is about proving her resilience, her strength, and her unwavering determination to fight for the people she loves. The moment is a defining one. By refusing to back down, Tessa demonstrates that she is no longer the uncertain young woman who once doubted her place in Genoa City. She has grown into someone who commands respect, a woman who will stand her ground no matter who questions her. And most importantly, she makes it clear that her focus remains firmly on Mariah. Whatever obstacles stand in their way, whatever schemes or manipulations others may try, Tessa will not allow anything to interfere with her mission to protect her wife and safeguard their future. This newfound resolve echoes through the wider canvas of Genoa City. Just as Sally's secret threatens to destabilize her romance with Billy, Tessa's refusal to bow to pressure reaffirms her strength and independence. Both women face choices that could alter the course of their lives, one through silence, the other through defiance. The question is which path will ultimately lead to stability, and which will open the door to more heartbreak. In classic Young and the Restless fashion, the answers will not come easily, and the fallout will ripple far beyond their own lives, touching the families and friendships that define Genoa City itself. It looks like Victor Newman and Jack Abbott are about to do the unthinkable, formalize their temporary alliance. Two titans who have spent decades locked in bitter rivalry now recognize that the only way forward is through cooperation, and while the arrangement may be fragile, it is also powerful. With Kane Ashby positioning himself as a dangerous wild card, both Victor and Jack understand that their only chance at truly defeating him is to set aside old grudges and work as one. For longtime viewers, the sight of Newman and Abbott standing shoulder to shoulder is as surreal as it is inevitable, because when Genoa City is under threat, even enemies will forge unlikely pacts. But such an alliance doesn't come without complications. The ripple effect is immediate, sparking fresh tension between Diane Jenkins Abbott and Nikki Newman. Nikki has never been one to mince words, and she certainly hasn't forgotten her long and bitter history with Diane. Though she is willing to support Victor's strategy of working with Jack, she refuses to extend the same goodwill to Diane. In fact, spoilers reveal that Nikki will be one of the loudest voices pushing for Diane to become more deeply involved, not out of trust, but as a way to test her loyalty and expose any weaknesses. The clash between these two women will add fuel to the fire, reminding everyone that while the men may shake hands, the women beside them are still waging their own Cold War. For Nikki, backing the alliance is not without fear. She knows the stakes are higher than ever and worries about what aligning too closely with the Abbotts might cost the Newman family. But Nikki also understands that Kane is unpredictable, ruthless, and willing to take risks that could permanently destabilize both Newman Enterprises and Jabot. Supporting Victor's deal with Jack may be the only realistic path forward, even if it forces her to face Diane head-on in ways that dredge up old wounds. The prospect of such a showdown leaves Nikki unsettled, but she remains determined to stand by Victor, no matter what it takes. Meanwhile, Sharon Newman finds herself wrestling with fears of her own. Tessa Porter approaches her with a bold new plan to track down Mariah Copeland and uncover the truth about what really happened at the old hotel where Mariah had been. Sharon, still haunted by the trauma of her daughter's abduction and the lingering scars it left behind, is understandably wary of digging up the past. Her protective instincts scream caution, urging her to question whether Tessa's strategy is truly the right way forward. Yet Tessa, resolute and fiery, refuses to back down. She insists that the investigation must continue and that answers must finally be unearthed. Adding to the intensity is the fact that Tessa will not be going it alone. She has recruited Daniel Romalotti Jr., a move that catches Sharon off guard. Sharon questions whether Daniel's involvement complicates things further, but Tessa believes that his perspective and determination will only strengthen their search. For Tessa, this mission is not simply about curiosity, it is about reclaiming agency, confronting old ghosts, and protecting Mariah from any lingering threats. Her conviction is unwavering, even as Sharon's heart clenches with fear about what digging too deep might reveal. The parallels between these storylines are striking. Just as Victor and Jack attempt to bury decades of animosity for a greater cause, Sharon and Tessa must decide whether to confront old trauma in the hope of securing closure. Nikki and Diane, meanwhile, embody the unshakable grudges that refuse to fade, threatening to derail fragile partnerships before they even take root. And looming over it all is Kane Ashby, the opportunist who has become a catalyst for chaos, pushing rivals into alliances and stirring fears that none of them can control. As these arcs converge, Genoa City braces for fallout. Will Victor and Jack's alliance hold long enough to bring down Kane, or will old rivalries resurface and sabotage the plan from within? Will Nikki's determination to keep Diane in check spark another full-blown feud that distracts from the larger war at hand? And will Tessa's determination to investigate Mariah's past finally bring long-awaited answers, or will it open new wounds that Sharon has tried so desperately to heal? One thing is certain, The fragile calm of Genoa City is about to be shattered again, and the choices made in the coming days will ripple through the Newman, Abbott, and Copeland families in ways no one can predict.